Space 101.1 FM, KMGP, welcomes you to Broken, Alaska, the world's only improvised radio drama series. Burt has been staying with George ever since the giant statue of Warren G. Harding crushed his shack. Things were going all right between them for the first couple of weeks, but it's tough to put two crusty bachelors together in a small space. Brick is visiting them both this morning, having a nice cup of coffee in George's kitchen. So, George, did you make this coffee on that vintage 9-cup Corning percolator I saw there on the stovetop?
I like it the old pioneer way.
I was going to say, because those old Cornings, I kind of burned it, you know what I mean?
Is this coffee? Well, I don't know. It tastes nothing like coffee. But anyway, thanks, George.
Well, it's not as good as the coffee you get at Rose's, I'll grant you that.
Yeah, or Mark's.
So, George, have you ever thought about putting that linoleum in your kitchen up on eBay? That's real vintage stuff. You could probably get a good price for that.
Well, I would do that, but, it has asbestos in it.
I wondered, maybe it's the asbestos that makes it so...
makes the coffee taste like that,
Well, it makes it so yellow, and it's such an interesting patina on it.
So is this like a double wide, or where'd this place come from? Did you build it?
No, I bought it. I bought it from an old couple a long time ago, and I'm really glad I did because it's got a lot of property behind us.
Yeah, I like the way when you walk into that corner, the house kind of tips just that little bit. It's maybe you want to look at your foundation.
You noticed that,
Yeah.
I'm not one to complain, but it wouldn't really kill you to put the Hoover around once in a while.
Well, I thought my guest would do that.
Well, if you show me where it is, I'll definitely do that because,
it might be in the basement.
Maybe it's the old copper in me, but I do like to keep things clean. Yeah, I'm not supposed to go down in the basement, Brick.
Really?
No.
Oh, I was just gonna...
No one's supposed to go down there.
Oh, well, I was just headed down there with this old shovel. Why is it lying in the middle of the floor, George?
Were you digging up moles? Because those are some very impressive piles of dirt you've got in the back.
Yeah, there's some moles out there, and one of the things you might do is go to Rose's and to Mark and ask them for their coffee grounds and then spread it on the ground because that supposedly makes them leave.
Well, I'll try that because, I know this is Alaska and we do everything bigger, but those must be moles the size of badgers.
They look like wombat holes, mate. George, what do you do down there basement, by the way? You're always down in the basement.
I'm down there pricing the stuff that I put in the store.
And why can't we
It's a secret.
It's a secret basement.
You bet it's a secret basement.
It's George's private space, Brick.
Yeah, don't forget it.
You must, in your giant house, have your sanctum sanctorum where no one else is allowed. Speaking of the basement, George, I wonder if you'd do me a favor and perhaps turn the music down a bit when you're down there. It's really, really loud, and as much as I love Supertramp...
All right, Bert, whatever you think you're saying, but just remember one thing. This is my place, and if I want to turn up my music, I'm going to turn up my music. You understand that?
Doesn't hurt to ask.
I don't want people invading on my privacy.
Why don't you put a tape down the middle of the house, right through the kitchen and all the way, and then you have one side, George, and Bert, you can have the needy-tidy side.
Oh, the old I Love Lucy solution.
Yeah, that'll work. What do you think? Well, I tell you what, Stewie's in Australia at the moment. How about we wait till he gets back, and then he might even be able to cut the house in half for you. How's that?
I've been meaning to say, I know that Stewie is your brother and all, but he's drawn up some blueprints for a new shack, and I've got to say they're a bit grandiose for my taste. Bachelor living alone, all I need is my hot plate and, my spim and my art supplies, really.
Yeah, your shack was really homely. What does he want to do with it?
Well, here, you look at the blueprint yourself.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. You're kidding me. 3 levels?
I know. I don't need 3 bathrooms.
Well, here's my question. How's he going to get permission from the council to build this, all right? He's going to need a permit. And, they're like gold around here. You can't get a permit to...
Brick. Haven't you noticed how he's got heather wrapped around his little finger?
Yes, I have noticed. All right, he's got all the charm in the world, hasn't he?
Well, I must say that all the women folk of the town seem to find him very attractive.
I've noticed that, too.
Yeah, the women in this town are obviously starved of affection.
It seems like we're at one of those points where everything is realigning, Annika and Mark seem to have cooled after it came out that Mark was writing those detective novels about all of us. You and Rose seem to be getting awfully chummy, but that seems to have cooled. And
Bert, you asked me to back off with Rose.
Well-
all right, so don't say, I'm not doing this voluntarily. I did it for the town, all right? What about you and Rose? I mean, what's that about?
me and Rose, there's nothing going on between me and Rose.
Are you sure? You asked me to back off Rose, and all I see is you and Rose and you and Rose. I'm trying to not think that you have some ulterior motive making me back off while you move in.
Please, I mean, she's a goddess. I mean, I should be so lucky, but no, of course not. I mean, I have nothing but the deepest respect and friendship for Rose, but I would never ask you to back off and then move in. In fact, I'm a bit offended, Brick.
Well, I'm sorry, but you two look so comfortable together.
Well, I know, and I'll tell you a secret. Rose reminds me a bit of my dear wife, Sally.
Oh.
So, of course, I feel a natural affinity toward her.
Yeah, well, it seems like all the men in this town feel that affinity.
Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't she's...
Bert, come on.
I know,
she's the most beautiful woman that I have ever met.
I know. I mean, she should be carved out of marble.
Well, I thought she was, honestly. Anyway, look, keep it between you and I, all right, will you?
Oh, needless to say. George, you have to pinky swear. You didn't hear any of that.
Okay, I pinky swear.
Oh, you know what? I used to look forward to our movie night, Rose and I, up at my place. And that's gone. All right, so this hurts me.
Well, you can watch movies with me and George. He's got a perfectly serviceable Betamax. I mean, nothing released after 1977, but it works.
I mean, I love you guys, but really, the thought of sitting down, holding hands on a couch, and watching a movie with you is not my cup of tea.
Maybe what we could do, George, is put together some sort of Excel spreadsheet and assign chores, and that way there'll be no misunderstandings.
I can do that. I can organize that.
You'd be willing to do that, Brick?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you could put Louise on that, or Joey, or one of your other minions.
Yeah, if I can find Joey, sure. Look, tell me something. My staff seem to come in and out of my office whenever they feel like it. Have you guys seen Joey?
I haven't seen Joey in a couple days.
Me neither.
Well, Joey has been working on the Broken Bugle, trying to make it more than just a one-sheet newspaper that's tacked onto the wall at Felcher's.
Well, good luck with that.
They're good stories.
If you see Joey, would you tell Joey that I really want...
Well, why don't you just bring in one of the other part-timers like Louise or Dolores?
Louise is already there part-time. And Dolores, I'm not sure. Dolores is a little bit... I don't know if she's a snagger short of a barbecue.
Bit of an odd bird, that Dolores.
Very odd. Look, I got to get to work. Anyway, if you guys want a hand with partitioning the house, let me know. And if you want a spreadsheet, we'll do that too.
I have to get going too. I'm going to go down to the pier and see if anyone needs their caricature done. Oh, by the way, George, I'm having dinner with Mark tonight, so don't wait up for me.
Look, you guys, I'm done. Why don't you go?
All right.
All right, good.
All right, see you, George.
Poor Burt and George. Here's hoping their friendship can survive their cohabitation. Other Brokenites have finished their breakfast and are already working on lunch. Let's see what Rose and Dolores are making in Rose's kitchen this morning.
So you wanted the zucchini in quarters, or is it okay to just slice them into slices? How do you think this is supposed to do?
I'd be happy to just take care of all the chopping of the vegetables.
Oh, Dolores, no, I appreciate that you came over to help me with this soup anyway. I'm not going to make you chop everything.
No.
You are a really good chopper. I have to say, Dolores, all those years at the Harbor Palace restaurant have really paid off. You're just flying through those carrots.
Well, between my chef knife and my santuko, I can do anything.
Oh, it's almost like the food is flying off of your knife. It's really amazing.
Sometimes I put a target up on the other side of the room and throw a knife. And I have got quite good at hitting the bullseye.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh, I'd love to see that. We should go out backyard sometime and practice that. Maybe you could show me. So it's like knife throwing.
It's so fun. I'd be happy to show you.
Oh, I'd love it.
And usually, sometimes what I do is ask someone to volunteer.
No, like stand with an apple on my head against the tree?
Yes.
No.
And I am so good. And of course, I would show you ahead of time how precise I am.
Oh, I don't know.
And
Dolores.
it
That's
is
a lot.
exciting. It's better than whitewater rafting or climbing these mountains around here.
I don't know. I'd have to have a couple more glasses of the Chardonnay before I agreed to do that.
Let me refill your glass.
Oh, isn't it a little early to be drinking a whole bottle of wine?
It's 12:04.
Somewhere. It's been so fun that you've been hanging out here the last couple weeks. I can't believe I never had you over for dinner before.
Well, I must say, this kitchen is not quite broken.
I'll take that as a compliment, actually.
Yes. And I have been looking at that tulip painting over there
Do you
on the
like
west
it?
wall. Oh, my goodness. That looks like a Claude Monet.
Oh, it does look like it. I actually got that when I was in San Francisco one time. I think it's so beautiful the way the colors sort of bounce around the room when the sunlight hits it.
I especially like the yellow ones.
Oh, thanks.
They complement your hair.
I've always had these sort of honey golden blondes in my hair.
It reflects your rosy cheeks.
Oh, thank you.
It looks like you need another refill.
I don't know, Dolores. Are you trying to get me drunk?
Oh, we'll have enough. I brought a second bottle. Well, I actually pulled out of the basement the Cordon Charlemagne Grand Cru.
Dolores, you're my new best friend.
Oh, well, Napa Valley has some of the best wines, and it seems like you're well versed in wines.
Well, I lived in California for quite a while, so, I mean, a long time. So,
Tell me, I really don't know that much about your early life.
well, can I tell you a secret, Dolores?
My lips are sealed, but my ears are waiting to hear the whole story.
Well, I usually tell people that I'm from California, and that's true. I moved up here from California, but I was actually born in upstate New York. I grew up in a little town of Ithaca, New York. Have you ever heard of it?
I have.
Oh, it's such a beautiful place. This wine must be extra strong if I'm talking about this, because this is not something I usually talk about.
You must have had a wonderful upbringing.
My friend Marta, she's a PhD student at Cornell University. She still lives there. I've been thinking about going back, but I don't know if that would work out for me, really.
You must have had some loves in your life from Ithaca.
Oh, of course. I mean, I went to school at Ithaca High School. This guy, Jeff, and I, we used to sneak out to Cascadilla Falls sometimes in the summertime. And you're not supposed to swim in the waterfalls around Ithaca because they use it as drinking water source. And I guess, I don't know, they want you to pee in the water or something. But everybody does it. And if you find a nice little secluded spot, you can do a little skinny dipping. I remember doing that a lot in high school. It was super fun. Jeff was a good guy. He was a fun boyfriend.
How could you have left such a beautiful environment?
Well, that's actually, I met somebody there when I was going to college, and are you sure you can keep a secret? Because this isn't something I want spread
Who do
around
I
town.
talk to but serving the people who come into the Harbor Palace? Rose, you're really my only friend.
Oh, Dolores. I think, you might be one of my only friends left in this town, too.
And friends never tell.
I got married when I lived in Ithaca, and he wasn't a very good guy, actually. So when I left and moved to California, I tried to keep that as sort of a secret, and I've moved around a few times trying to just sort of stay clear of him. And no, I don't think anybody from back there except for Marta knows that I'm here in Alaska. So
you've been moving around the country to avoid this man.
I wouldn't want him to find me. I have to be careful to cover up my tracks. Dolores, you can't tell anybody about this stuff, though.
My lips are sealed.
Well, who are you going to tell, right?
Who am I going to tell?
Give me another glass of wine.
Yes.
Sounds better.
It seems like there's been so many people here in Broken that have been quite taken with you, Rose.
I don't know about that. Since my husband, I think there hasn't been anybody that was anything worth talking about. But for example, there's Brick, right? He was such a jerk, and he's all about his money and his business. And then I thought we sort of had a little breakthrough. But did you look here? Come here. Look out this window. Put down your knife. Put down the carrot. Come over here. Look at this. This is my view in the morning. I used to get up in the morning and I'd sit here with my coffee and I'd look out this window and you'd see the mountains and the sunrise and the trees. And now there's a giant 30-foot billboard of a mountain and trees and a big sunshine with Brick's face on it. Look at it, it says Brick Co. right across the whole billboard. Why would you put a billboard of mountains and trees blocking my view of mountains and trees? I can't believe he did that.
It's so reflective of who Brick is.
Isn't it? You know, I just had to really realize maybe Brick is not who I thought he was going to be. And I'm sorry to say I don't think our friendship is going to continue because he clearly only thinks about himself. He's extremely self-centered.
True. Well, you and Mark, you and he were quite close there for a little bit.
Mark and I were really good friends, and I really like hanging out with him. I feel like we talk about books, we talk about coffee, we talk about the world. He's so well read. But you read that stuff that he wrote in his novels. You read how he portrayed me as this dumb, beautiful, useless woman who was just sitting around waiting for him to save me every time I turned around. I did not appreciate that. And no, I'm pretty mad at Mark right now. I think Mark can stuff his shattered series for all I care.
Well, that leaves Burt.
Burt!
Have you noticed how he looks at you? I was coming by to the produce stand, and he was there. You were busy with another customer?
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching Burt, and he couldn't take his eyes off of you, Rose.
I love Burt. I love him like a best friend.
You know, sometimes there's nothing better than a best friend becoming something more than a best friend. Let me pour you another glass, and I'm going to open the second bottle.
Woohoo!
Again.
This is the best lunch date I've had in weeks. Thanks, Dolores.
I've enjoyed it too so much.
Who's knocking? Come in.
Hey, Dolores,
Burt Beckman, what are you doing in my house?
Well, Dolores said she was here. I didn't realize you were here.
Of course I'm here. This is my kitchen.
Well, she said she was going to your place, but I didn't think you were in town. I've got a recipe for...
What do you want?
I have a recipe for deep-fried halibut so that Dolores, when I order it, knows how I like it.
Wouldn't it have been easier just to bring this to the Harbor Palace restaurant? Or did you want to get a look at your handiwork? Here you go. Take a look out the window. You can see a really good view of that giant, ugly poster you put up there.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
huh?
no, that's not cool.
Looks just like the mountains.
It looks similar to the mountains that would be visible behind the billboard if you had not put the billboard up, yes.
Rose?
Brick?
Anyway, it's really nice to see you, Rose.
So you brought a recipe that you think she should make at the Harbor Palace restaurant. You don't think maybe she could make her own decisions based on the fact that she's worked there for all these years and is an expert cook. You think you're just going to come in here with some fancy new recipe. Why? Because it's one you wanted? What about the rest of the town? Maybe we don't want deep-fried halibut. Brick?
I spent a lot of money there, and I did give them the loan to redevelop the business.
It's always about the money.
Hey, in the end, that's about all I have around here, all right?
That's what it seems like,
Friendship is really hard to find in this town sometimes. You know that?
You know what, Brick? Money is about all you have.
Well, it's better than what some people have. That's all I can say.
I disagree.
My loneliness is comfortable,
I'm
Rose.
so glad.
All right.
Take your loneliness back out my kitchen door.
Thank you, Brick.
All right.
I will consider your deep-fried halibut for a lunch special.
You'll love it. You really love it.
Goodbye. Nice to see you, Brick. Goodbye. Can I see that recipe, Dolores? Wow. This is fascinating. A little lemon zest on the top.
I may try it. Or maybe not.
You can tell Brick I did that. Please tell Brick I did that.
We're going to get along famously.
This is going to be a fun friendship.
You're listening to Broken Alaska, radio's only improvised ongoing drama series on Space 101 FM. Visit us on Facebook at Broken AK and catch up on previous episodes on our podcast for free on iTunes. Back in Broken, the afternoon sun is setting nicely in Carlos's bungalow as he and Annika prepare dinner. Annika, could you please hand me the jalapeno? It's right over there next to the blender.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Oh, here you go.
Perfect, thank you. And thank you for coming over tonight. it's funny because I feel like I don't have anybody to talk to in this town, and I sense that you and I maybe are kindred spirits of a sort.
I think we are. I don't much talk to people because people don't really notice me. And I'm okay with that most of the time, but I do get lonely, and it's nice to have a place to just kind of go for dinner.
Here, let's finish making up this salsa. Look in that drawer over there, the third one over. Pull that drawer out.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you'll like it. It's the silverware drawer.
Oh, my.
You like the crushed blue velvet?
I do.
Yes, I had that made specially for me.
Oh, wow. It's so... velvety is kind of a silly thing to say, but it really is velvety smooth. It just is beautiful. It's
That
the most
is-
beautiful thing I've seen.
That is special velvet from Uruguay. I have some cousins there in the
Can you get
velvet
more of
business.
this?
Oh, yes, of course. My cousins are there in Montevideo. I can
Oh,
get you
okay.
all the velvet you want.
Yes, please.
I don't feel like I have many really close friends in this town. I have lots of casual relationships with the tourists that come through, but it's not fulfilling.
I thought you and Rose.
Well, a gentleman doesn't kiss and tell. Rose and I are friends. I like Rose very much. But, sometimes I think that she and Mark are just two peas in a pod, as they say in America.
I know. Yeah.
Well, so what's the situation between you and Mark, if I'm not being nosy?
You're being nosy, and there is no situation to be nosy about. Mark barely notices me, so I don't know.
Well, it seems to me like you are quite a catch, and, Mark is indifferent to you at best, and it seems strange because Mark is normally such a passionate person, a big heart. And,
Thanks. Yeah, I know. I've decided to move on. I'm not interested in that kind of a man anymore. I'm looking for a man who's more sure of himself, more confident in his cooking.
Really? Well, that would be wonderful. I would really welcome the company. I like to go for a long walk on the beach and to go for hikes in the woods, and I'm the adventure guy, but I get lonely too.
Yeah.
Most men, they are, how do you say it in English, oblivious to when a woman sends out a signal.
Well, I like to think I've been sending appropriate signals to you. Have you been receiving them?
Oh, of course.
Well, you kind of have a cavalier attitude about it, and I was just kind of really starting to wonder if maybe I had been too subtle.
Oh, you mean you want to make love?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good, because I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page
Oh,
here.
yes, we are.
And
We
were
are.
consenting adults.
We are
and,
consenting adults. I am absolutely consenting.
Okay, good. Well, then, Annika, listen to this. Allow me to make another margarita for you.
Absolutely.
Extra salt.
This is wonderful, Carlos.
Annika, I have one cabinet that I have not yet let you see,
Yes?
but I will open it for you now. It
Oh, my God.
is the home of my medallions.
Oh, what am I looking at?
This medallion, you see here, this is the one I wear when I go on the rock climbing exhibitions. It gives me the strength of the cougar.
Wow.
This one
Yeah?
is the one I wear when I'm traveling. It is the power of the bear, the oso.
Ooh, I like bears.
This one
Yes?
I wear when I meditate on the nature of existence. It is the owl, the wise owl.
Okay.
In anticipation of
Yes?
consummating our friendship, I take off the everyday cooking medallion,
Wow.
and this one I put on for you now. The medallion I wear when I make love. It is
Oh.
the jaguar.
You've changed so much since putting it on.
I got this in Mexico, and it gives me the power of the jaguar.
Wow.
Allow me to paw at you.
Yes. Paw at me. Oh. Absolutely magnificent.
It gives me kitty power.
That is some jaguar you've got there. Oh. I like your kitty power.
Later that night, George is back down in the basement. Burt isn't expected home for a while, so George has the tunes cranked up and is blissfully working on his secret project.
Let's see, maybe I should dig over in this area here and see. Let's see, this shovel load's got to have a few nuggets in it. Let's put it through the screen and see. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that one. Oh, man. Oh, man.
George.
Burt.
I'm sorry to come down here. I know I'm not supposed
Burt,
to.
you're
in the
not
secret
supposed to
place,
come
but-
down the stairs. You know that.
I know, but I'm afraid that the chili from the Harbor Palace went through me rather fast, and I need to find a plunger for the loo. George, could you please turn the music down a bit?
Oh, all right.
Thank you. Why are you blocking my view of your basement?
You know I didn't want you to come down into this basement.
But you said you just price things down here. What does that matter?
Well, I have my books out, and you might look at my books.
Why do you have a big screen set up over there on sawhorses? And what's all this then?
Burt.
Why so many shovels and picks?
All right, you're asking too many questions now.
Well, it looks like you've been chipping away at the walls. I mean, the concrete's all gone and the bare bedrock is exposed.
Burt.
Are you running some sort of mining operation into your home?
Why are you even down here? I thought you were having dinner.
Yeah, I did, but it's almost midnight.
You said you weren't gonna be here.
Well, I wasn't going to spend the night with Mark. I mean, we would... Oh, my gosh. Look at this. How far does that tunnel go on? Wait, you've got a branch tunnel going off that way, too. You've got an elevator going down this other shaft. George, this is like a serious mining operation. You haven't even reinforced the ceiling. You've been down here by... It's a miracle you didn't bury yourself.
I have my still way back down there.
You got a still in a mine?
Why not?
It could blow the whole thing up. You could blow up the whole town. What are you mining for anyway?
Here, look at this.
Oh my, look at that big bucket of gold nuggets. I mean, those have got to be the size of a baseball.
Well, you can't have any.
Oh, I don't want them, George.
They're all mine.
Of course they're yours.
And don't tell anybody about this.
Oh, George, I can't think that A, I would want something that belongs to you, and B, that I would tell anyone your secret. Gosh, look at that.
Look at the size of that gold nugget.
Oh, I mean, I'm not a geologist, but if I'm not very much mistaken, I'd say this has a density of 8, maybe 9 grams per ton. That's really high-grade stuff, George.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky now. I don't have to worry about selling my antique store.
Oh, I didn't even know that was in the works. I mean, what inspired you to come down here? I mean,
Well,
I can't even see the end of it.
when I bought this place, the old man turned around and told me I was sitting on top of a gold mine, and I didn't believe him.
George, when people say you're sitting on a gold mine, it's just an expression, so...
Well, Brick's brothers, Stewie, when he came to town, he was telling me that he got rich from uranium. And so I went downstairs and I started poking around, and I started just moving everything. But there's always been this great big bookshelf in the way, and I never moved it. And now I moved it and discovered that there was this whole tunnel out here.
Oh.
Just started digging, got my lights up, and I'll be dipped. There was gold.
Quite a lot of gold. I like that you've built like a little railway down here with the carts, and it's very, Indiana Jones-like down here.
Well, yeah, it's kind of cool, huh?
It is. I mean, even if you didn't find gold, you could open this up as like an amusement. I mean, we could bring tourists down here to see the mine.
Yeah, well, I've got all these booby traps set, so that wouldn't be working too well.
Do you hear that?
I hear something, but...
It seems to be coming from that shaft. Let's go.
Let's go look. Oh, my God.
Joey, here, give us your hand. Come on. George, you think...
Okay, I think I got it.
Joey, come on.
I'm sorry. Come on.
Whoa.
Wow.
Joey, how did you get down in the mine shaft?
Oh, thank God you guys are here. I've been yelling and nobody heard me. You played all that super tramp.
So, Joey, how did you get down here?
Well, I didn't mean to be here. I was, Denise, she asked me to walk Pugsy, which I really didn't want to do because Pugsy's kind of scary. But she calmed him down and he kind of smiled at me. So I said, okay. And she said, just go over to George's yard. That's where Oh, sorry,
What?
George. Well, you got all these holes in there, and I figured I would just bring Pugsy over. That's where she brings him.
And fertilize my property?
Yeah, and fertilize your property to make things grow. And anyway, I brought Pugsy over, and I was looking at some of the holes in your yard, and then suddenly I was falling through the air, and I must have stepped into one of the holes because I didn't feel anything under my foot, and I kept going down and down and down, and I didn't know if I'd stop, and I felt Pugsy kind of put his arms around me, and suddenly I stopped, and then there was no more Pugsy. But I looked around, and it was just like dirt all over with just a little bit of a hole, and then I started hearing, "Take the long way home." You know, your Supertramp music, and I thought, okay, I gotta be not too far away from somebody here. I hear some music, and I didn't know if I was ever gonna live again, and I started yelling. I started going, hey, 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 I'm here, yo, and nobody came, and then the music stopped, and I
So
thought,
we don't know where Pugsy is now, though.
once I fell, and after I felt his arms, and you're right, I didn't see him or hear him, and I don't know where he is.
That dog has a tendency to disappear. It's crazy. It's almost like it can move into another dimension at will.
Well, I think he saved my life. And you saved my life, too. I don't know what I would have done if you guys hadn't have heard me.
Well, we normally wouldn't have heard you if I wouldn't have turned off the music.
You know, it just goes to show that if Mark and I didn't have dinner, and the chili at the Harbor Palace hadn't upset my stomach so much, and the toilet hadn't overflowed, and I hadn't come down here looking for George, and discovered this tunnel, and he wouldn't have turned down the music so he could hear me speaking to him, we never would have found you, Joey.
What's all is this gold around here?
Joey,
Holy moly!
this is gonna be a problem, isn't it? You gotta keep this a big secret.
Holy moly, look at all this gold,
No,
man.
Joey, you have to keep this a secret. Pinky swear, because if word of this gold strike got out, the town would be overrun by gold seekers. Our whole way of life would be destroyed if this ever got out.
You really think so?
Totally.
But think of the story. Think of the story I could write.
Yeah,
This
if I
might
see
be
this
it.
up at Fletcher's, I'm gonna burn your house down.
Well, George, let's not get carried away. I mean, well, here, sit
Can I
down.
have something to eat first?
I always carry a,
Twinkie!
well, it's a Twinkle, but, it's close enough. I got it from Belch's.
That tastes good. Okay. You really need me to pinky swear?
You need to pinky swear,
Pinky
Joey.
swear.
Because that's so serious.
I know, it's as
It's a
serious as it
three-way
gets.
pinky square.
Three-way pinky swear.
All right.
After George, Joey, and Bert's three-way pinky swear, news about George's big gold strike spreads fast through Broken, and everyone is happy for him. He's even offered to donate 1 gold nugget toward having bike lanes painted on all the roads, just like they do in Seattle. And in honor of his generosity, the town council has voted to rename 12th Street George Street. It's actually the 3rd Street off Main Street. And there's nothing on 12th Street except for the old Rexall drugstore. But it's the thought that counts. A few days later, even old Bob and Mabel Sharon have heard about George's good fortune. As the proprietors of Broken's official gold panning tourist expedition, people were worried that the Sharons might be jealous. But that sweet old couple were some of the happiest of all for George. Let's check in on the Sharons in their ramshackle camp on the outskirts of town.
Bob Sharon, you come on out of that tent now. I got a good mess of victuals cooking up over here on the fire. Come on out, honey.
Well, nice. Oh.
What are you, born in a barn? Come on, put the tent flat back down when you're coming over for breakfast.
My goodness.
Well, I made up some victuals for you this morning for breakfast. I took a big old slab of ham over that pig we got curing in that shed over there, and I got some eggs here for you. What kind of eggs you want this morning, love?
Oh, honey bug, I'll take those over easy.
Oh, peaches and cream, you want?
Well, we got 2 more days before the boat comes in.
I know when that boat's coming in, we're going to have a whole new crop of tourists coming looking for that gold panning adventure.
Well, too bad.
Well, honey buns, now you know we gotta be kind and generous about that man George and his town there. He found all that gold in his basement, but I could be the one to slit his throat for him. I don't mind.
Honey, you did that last time. I think that was...
Well, come on, gee willikers. I mean, when somebody's got to do it,
Well,
we're gonna
you
have to
know-
kill him before we jump his claim, honey.
Well, these are excellent. I'm going to take these medium done from now on.
Oh, I knew you'd like these eggs this way, dear. I actually did on purpose, just hoping you would. You know, I was down by that old dry creek bed the other day, and I saw 2 rattlesnakes. I swear, sweetie pie, they were as big as your thighs. I'm not kidding.
Well, did you get one?
Of course I did. I've been nursing the venom out of it now for 3 days. Got a nice little supply of the poison here.
He could sleep right through it,
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's something. I'm just saying. Or you know what? Maybe he could find a snake right in his boots. We could just put the snake in the boot.
Oh, snake in the boot. Snake in the boot.
do
I
it.
love that snake in the boot.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot to pick up your hat. Here, your hat's getting all dusty here on the ground.
Oh, look at you. You put a snake in there.
Just testing you. Testing your old reflexes.
Oh, my goodness. You still got it.
You know, I've married you for 60
Did I smell
years.
cinnamon rolls this morning?
Oh, you know what? I buried them down under the coals here in the fire. They should be just about ready.
Sweet bug, now you said there was 2 snakes. I see 1.
Well, it was the one I put in your hat, keeping you on your toes. You gotta find that other rat snake I found the other day. You gotta find it.
Okay.
What do you think it could be? Be like a little game of hide and seek for you and me. Oh, we do keep our marriage spicy.
I'll be checking my boots now.
Oh, sweet pea.
Hey, we might have to take care of that little Joey.
Oh, that Joey can sniff out a story like a bloodhound.
That's
you
right.
Know that.
Look how Joey showed up at George's.
That was kind of curious to me, too. That was a part of the story I wasn't real sure about. How did Joey know to be in George's basement just as he was finding all them gold nuggets? God bless him, I mean. Oh, the silly things we hear out of that town sometimes. You know, Sweet Dumpling, I think sometimes we're lucky that we live out here on the outskirts of town. We don't have to deal with all those silly people.
Well, Apple Pie, you know when silly people make mistakes, it's our job, it's our duty to correct it.
It is our solemn duty on God's green earth to take care of those poor folk.
And Grumpy George, him getting all that gold, come on, that's not the way it's meant to be.
I agree with you about that. I think he's always been such a old grump. It was sort of surprising to me that I heard about him finding all that gold. I mean, what a big strike. You and I, we've been looking for a big gold strike for what now, 40 years in this town?
Well, and who would be more happy to spend it on the town than us?
We have always been nothing but philanthropic.
That's right. Anthropic.
And I'm Phila. Sugar Dumpling, you make me laugh after all this time.
Other than George and Joey, who else do we have to dispatch to the good Lord?
Oh, well, let's see. We might have to pray on that a little bit, Sugar Bear.
I think that disappearing dog is probably high on my list.
I don't know. We've been trying to get rid of that little Pugsy now for 2 months, and it hasn't happened. I think there's something special about that dog.
Yeah.
You know, I've been wondering maybe the good Lord Jesus sent that Pugsy to us I was thinking, yeah, maybe a sign from the good Lord herself.
Well, you have a heart of gold.
Oh, honey.
Could I have another cinnamon roll?
Oh, you know what? Here, let me get my hot pot holder here. I'll get you some coffee. Go with it. I believe the coffee's boiling in this old can here. It's got some grounds in it. You got that old sock we use to strain the coffee when it gets the grounds in it?
Well, look, my sock has a snake in it.
You found the other rattlesnake I hit on you.
You led me too close to that one.
Oh, Sugar Bear.
Oh, honey bun.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. You've been listening to Broken Alaska, radio's only improvised drama series, produced at the studios of Space 101.1 FM. Starring in this week's episode were Mike Fuller as Burt, Carlos, and the announcer, George Birch Wirtz as George, Paul Einhorn as Brick, Carrie Aguila as Rose and Mabel Sharon, Kay Laverne Jazz as Dolores, Taylor Edwards as Annika, Carol Sparrow as Joey, and Jerry Jazz as Bob Sharon. It was directed by Carrie Aguila from an idea by Carrie Aguila. It was edited by Carrie Aguila and Mike Fuller, with sound design by Mike Fuller and music by Audionautics.com. Visit us on Facebook at Broken AK and download previous episodes as podcasts through iTunes, and please leave us a review. We'd tell you what's coming up next week on Broken Alaska, but since it's improvised, you'll know as soon as we do.